So I have more notes for the homework, and then the plan is to look at problems from the book and to keep doing review problems today. Next week, we'll get into like solving equations and some more interesting stuff. All right, first one. How many hours does a person making $8.50 per hour? Have to work to make $272. So what we're going to do is take $272, divide by $8.50 per hour. And I'm mostly looking at the units. So we have that unit of dollars divided by, split it up by the make per hour. 1 hour. Okay, first we're going to take care of this. A number divided by this fraction. We're going to have that number stay where it is. Multiply by the reciprocal. So these units go up here. We're going to have this dollars. The denominator. And let's see, for a little bit of this semester, maybe like 1, possibly 2 days, we're going to talk about converting units. It's, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in the plan. What we have here is dollars and dollars, so those units are gone. I guess you could say that they cancel. What's left is just hours. And when I take 272 divided by 8.5, I got 32 hours. We're moving on to percentages. A percentage is a proportion out of 100. Start off with some easy examples. Right. 75%. As a fraction, it's 75 over 100. 98% is 98 over 100. Next, let's write 1/4 as a percent. Maybe percentage. So take 1/4. We want to end up with a denominator that's 100. So we take a fancy number 1, where do you have 25 over 25? So number over itself is 1, as long as it's not 0. That way I can have 25 over 100 makes 25%. Okay, let's keep it kind of smooth and do like, right. Let's go with like 4/10 as a percent. Percentage. Take your 4/10. Multiply by 1, where 1 is going to be 10 over 10. 10 is that 100 I was looking for. And 40 over 100 is 40%. I think that's enough with percents. So for order of operations, I'm going to use that acronym PEMDAS. And we'll write everything down, parentheses, exponents, then multiply or divide at the end, add and subtract. Add or subtract. First, exponents next. You can multiply or divide or multiply, but this is the next step you can take. Okay, at the end, add and subtract. Let's start with example, which has 2 times 2 cubed. Then we add 5 times 2. No parentheses, go for the exponents. 2 cubed. Let's put that on the side. Just a reminder, taking 2, multiply with itself 3 times. 2 times 8 plus 5 times 2. (16 plus 10). We're going to multiply before adding. Here, 8 times 2. We're going to save this for the end. 10 plus 16 is going to give us 26. In the next problem, I'm going to do 6 plus 75 divided by 5 squared. It's all written straight across. So parentheses, don't have to worry about them. Exponents, we need to take care of that exponent. So first thing to do is 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, let's multiply or divide. So here I will put a little 1 in the denominator. Then I can multiply 75 by the reciprocal of that fraction. Okay, still want to multiply or divide before adding or subtracting. So 75 over 25. We could factor 75 plus 25. Any number over itself is going to reduce to 1. So that's going to go to 1. And what's left is 3 over 1, which is 3. And I just want to mention there's definitely more than one way to solve a problem. So if you, let's say, you have to follow the same order of operations. You don't have to take, what am I trying to go for? You have to follow the rules, but I could put extra steps in here if I want to. Like, we don't have to go down the same path to reach the right answer, but we do need to use order of operations to all have the same. We all have the same answer, but we don't have to do the same work to get that answer. That makes sense. Okay, let me see. Okay. Oh yeah, and then I guess maybe on that note, maybe you wouldn't do this stuff here, but I just wanted to break this up so I know how I simplified 75 over 25 and got to 3. Let's do another one. This time, here, we want to have parentheses. 3, and another parenthesis. 8 minus 6. Close, and then subtract 1. Close, and add 10. Okay, so first is parentheses, but when you're looking at the parentheses, go as far as you can inside and work on those parentheses first. So we're taking care of 6, 8 minus 6. Okay, so inside these parentheses, we need to multiply first and then subtract. So 3 times 2 is 6. Minus 1. Stick with your parentheses and have 5. So we're going to multiply 9 with 2/3. So a fraction with an exponent will have the exponent applied to that numerator and to the denominator. So 2 squared and 3 squared. So 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 3, 9. If it helps to read this, I would put 9 over 1. It's just me. And I know that 9 over 9 is going to reduce to 1. Which we could put slashes. I sometimes like to just do an arrow through them and know that this is going to be 1. So 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. And let's put this problem down and talk about it. So we start with a square bracket. There's 4 minus parentheses 2 plus 1. Close, close, square brackets, and subtract 8. So it's just a small thing that the square brackets in this kind of expression are just another way to organize the information. So they're just like parentheses. So you go here for your parentheses first, inside further those parentheses, and that's your first step, 2 plus 1. Or farthest nested parentheses that you can find. So put that together, and I've got 4 minus 3, because I want to stick inside of the parentheses. 1 is left. 1 minus 8 is negative 7. gonna do another one like this, and maybe some more after we get through enough problems that I know you're gonna be able to do your homework. Start with the square bracket. Inside is 7. Subtract. Parenthesis 5 plus 3. Minus 4. Close those brackets, and this whole thing is a power of 2. So it's parentheses first and then exponents. So we're going to work here, and then after we take care of the parentheses, these parentheses, we can do the exponent after. First, we want to put together 5 plus 3. And in here, we're going to take 7 minus 8, so we're at -1. Minus 4 gets us to -5. And then don't forget that power. Oh, oops. You know what? Let's even save those square brackets because it'll help point out that negative sign that I almost dropped. Okay, -5 squared will give us 25. So this is a good spot to talk about raising negative numbers to even powers and to odd powers. So if you put a negative number to an odd power, it will still be negative. An easy one would be like -1. Let's do cubed. So I'm going to multiply -1 with itself 3 times. When you have 2 negatives multiplied together, you have a positive. So this is +1. So it's that -1. Just -1. Let's do another. -1 to some other odd power. -1 times itself. These two -1s multiplied together are 1. This -1 times -1 is +1. And then the next one, we're not going to work through it, but if you had -1 to a power of 15. That's odd, so it's negative. Next, when you take a negative number to an even power, it's going to be positive. We did one's odds, so we want to talk about evens. Even power, you'll have a positive number. Let's go back to something like -1 squared. -1 times a -1 is positive. -1 to the 4th. This 4 times. Let's pair these together and get +1 times +1. It's 1 times 1. And then we'll pick some kind of any even number. Let's go with 12. -1 to a power of 12. It's an even power, so it's going to be +1. All right, next. We're going to take -2/5 and multiply with -5/4. That's it. Just talking about this, negative times negative is positive, which we don't have to put down. We'll multiply across. 7 factors 4. Okay, 5 over 5. It's going to simplify to 1. And what's left is 2 times 1. 4 times 1. Oh, we can factor 4 as 2 times 2. And do that again. 2 over 2. It's a 1. Okay, 1 over 2 is our answer. Next, we will take I'm going to move on. Okay, so next I want to talk about dividing by 0. Any number divided by 0 is undefined. So I kind of think of undefined as it doesn't exist, or you could say it's not a real number. But in the homework, you're going to put down undefined. So if you have 5 divided by 0, it's undefined. And let's do this one. 342 divided by 0 is undefined. Including 0 over 0. You cannot divide by 0. So 0 over 0 doesn't equal 1. 0 over 0 would be undefined. Anything else? I guess just to be safe, we want to make sure we talk about 0 divided by a number. So let's go with 0 over 5. Again. Anybody want to share in the chat?
It stays the same number.
Oh, let me make sure I have that one. Okay, I should be able to hear you.
The number stays the same.
This time, actually, 0 divided by 5 is going to be 0.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, though. I really appreciate comments in class. So thank you. Okay, it's going to happen all the time. When you have 0 over a non-zero number, you get 0. 0 divided by 302 is 0. And 0 over like -4 equals 0. The only one you can't do is this one. 0 over 0 has to be undefined. That's the weird one. Okay, and let's try something that is related to this, where we take 9 plus 5. And that's over 3 times 2 minus 6. So we want to keep with the order of operations and do any multiplication or division first. So multiply 3 with 2. And 9 plus 5 is 14. It's over 0. And when you have a number over 0, it's undefined. Let's try. I need like a moment. Okay, so 20 minus 4 times 5 is in the numerator. We want to have 7 minus 2 in the denominator. Okay, multiply first. 20 minus 20. It's over. We could put 7 minus 2. 0 divided by some number that isn't 0 is 0. think that's enough notes for your homework, which means that I'm going to pull up the book in just a moment. Right, so I used to do class worksheets, but they really are meant for groups, they're group activities. So what we will do is similar different problems from the book, but I want to stick with review for today. So we're going to the review chapter and doing problems from the end of each section. And just as a note, I'm using the XYZ, let me make sure I have it actually. XYZ ebook. And let's see, let me come back to. So next week, or over the weekend, I'll try to be a bit more prepared, and I can take a little picture of the problem, and I can even take a picture of the solution. And later after class, I can post all the problems and solutions, just in case you want to read through the explanation. But I'll go ahead and talk through it with you guys. Okay, let's see. We've got fractions to start with. Thanks for being patient. Trying to find some good problems for us. Here we go. Let's start working with some mixed fractions, and then let's do some order of operations after. Okay, first. We're taking 16 over 135 divided by 2 over 45. Okay. Let's see. This is at the end of section 0.2, if you want to find it in the book. So we're in 0.2. Exercise set 0.2, and this is number 46. I'm going to change this to multiplication, find the reciprocal of that fraction, and then see what happens next. Cool. I know we're going to factor 16 as, let's start with 2 times 8. 35, we can divide by 5. It's 5 times, anybody want to share? Let's see.
27.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna double check with my calculator. Not the best calculator, but let's try 7. Thank you. And 45 divided by 5. Okay, 9 times 5. Let's go ahead and cancel common factors. So 5 over 5 will reduce to 1. Same as 2 over 2. So we still have 8 times 9 over 27. Let's factor 27. Right. 9 times 3. 9 over 9 is 1. I've got 8/3. Let's mixed fractions. There they are. All right, let's try number 97. Still in section 0.2. It's 2 and 1/10. Multiply by 3 and 3/10. Good. You write this. It's 10 times 2 plus 1 over 10. And kind of the same thing. 10 times 3 plus 3 over 10. So we have 21 over 10 multiplied with, want to multiply first, 30, then add 3, 33 over 10. And we would do scratch work, but I'm going to use my phone, or if you guys want to share, what is 21 times 33? I got 693. For now, we'll leave it as a, well, can this reduce? I don't think so. I would leave it as a fraction, but we want a simplified fraction. So let's see. This fully simplified. Well, to double check that it is, we want a factor. So let's keep on working just to be sure that this is our final answer. Maybe do scratch work. So we'll take 693 over 100 and start to break apart. 100 is, do 10 times 10, and this 10 is 2 times 5. Another 2 times 5. All right, that's 100 fully factored. Starting to factor 693, it's divisible by 3. And that's 3 times 231. what divides into 231? Oh, 3. 3 times 77. Seven would be 7 times 11, and then we have to stop. There are no common factors, so this is fully simplified. We're good to go. Okay, let's keep going through book problems. And ooh, this looks kind of cool. It's 8 divided by, and we have like parentheses. Inside it's 1 1/4 divided by 2. And we're still in section 0.2. That's number 116. I would start with rewriting this first. So 1 1/4, you take 4, multiply with 1, add 1, still over 4. Okay, 4 times 1 is 4, then you got plus 1. So here we have 5/4. Okay, instead of dividing by 2, I will put 2 over 1, and then I can multiply by 1/2. Okay, 8 divided by 5/8. And again, instead of dividing by that fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. This is 8 times 8, 68. Double check.
Isn't it 64?
64. Yeah, I get those. I'm not really great at memorizing those. Which is why I kind of don't expect you to use, I mean, I don't mind if you use a calculator on your test, but other teachers might. 64, thank you. I appreciate having help. Okay, and that's fully simplified. Let's go to a new section. Operations is 0.3, and we're going to the end. We're going to try 0.4. Well, there's some percent problems we could do. And okay, let's try like this. We're going to write, 0.4, number 25. Take 0.23 and write as a percent. Percentage. So what do? We will first, I would first take the decimal, change it to a fraction, then get, oh. But yeah, and by the way, it's just like just like in a regular classroom. If you ever need to leave, you can leave and come back, no problem. And we'll always be recording. So if you miss something, just make sure you try to rewatch the meeting later. Okay, back to class. 0.23. And as a decimal, we were at the 10th hundredths place, 23 out of 100. That seems kind of very easy. Yeah, this is fine. We are at 23 out of 100. It's already kind of good to go. So we're at 23%. Yeah, that makes sense. Going backwards, I usually think that if you have to go from percent to decimal, you want to go to where the decimal sits, which right here would be at the end, and move that place over. So 2 places over would have a little decimal here at 0.23. See, let's try. I'm going to make this one up. When I take a percent and change it to decimal form, I do that trick I showed you where you move the decimal place twice. So we have 48%. So I go to where the decimal sits, which next one will have some decimals in it. And you move to move this way 2 places. Okay, but if you want to kind of go with what we were talking about earlier and put a little extra work in the middle, 48%, you have 48 over 100. Divided by 100 is 0.48. Okay, we want to take like 12.44% and write it as a decimal. Let's actually make it 112. 112. So I guess sort of a shortcut, but I'm still going to kind of put the work down in a moment. Go to where the decimal sits and move it over 2 places this way. So we want 1.21244 as our decimal number. Get that answer by taking this value. It was a percent, which means you're taking that number, dividing by 100. And I'm pretty sure later we're going to cover scientific notation, which is sort of what's going on right now. We're dividing by a multiple of 10. And it sends that decimal places to the, what's this? Two places that way. Okay, let's do something else. Oh, cool. Thank you for sharing the answer. Nice. All right, let's see if we want to do any more problems from this section. We'll try. Oh, cool, a chapter test. Let's see what that's like. Well, I see one or two kind of cool ones, but maybe we'll just call it a little early. Unless you have any topics that you'd like to go over further. Okay, let's try these. So this is from the chapter test for, what's this? Chapter test and summary, chapter 0. I'm at the end with number 27. Okay. Whoa, oh, yeah, let's stick with it. Okay, 19.7 minus 3.61. Add 2.5. Okay. So I have to mention that even though I'm not quick to calculate numbers in my mind, I do use a lot of scratch work, a lot of scratch paper. And yes, let me finish that thought. So this time I will actually do scratch work on the whiteboard. I've just kind of been skipping it right now. And most of the problems we've been doing, like for the last few minutes now, have been problems from the book, from the review chapter, which I think is called chapter 0. So if you go to the ebook and I went to the contents, there's 0, or chapter 0 is for pre-algebra review. At the end, there's a test. And I went to the very end of that test. And we're going to do the last 2 problems. Cool. So that's in the ebook. First, we go into the parentheses and add those numbers together. $3.61. Add it to your 2.5. So I've got 1, 6, 5 plus 6 is 11. The decimal comes down. 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6.11 inside of the parentheses. Which I can drop parentheses after I've taken care of that step. Okay. 19.7 minus 6.11. Put a placeholder here. You can put a 0 after that's 7. I'll go ahead and carry down that decimal place right away. And I'm going to need to, what we say, this is how I've learned to do it, is to borrow from 7. So I would put this down to 6, take that over here, and I've got 10 minus 1 is 9. 6 minus 1 is 5. 9 minus 6, 3, and then there's 1. So answer is 13.59. One more for sure. And maybe we'll call it. Maybe I'll make something up. So at the end of the chapter test for chapter 0 is number 28. Have 15 minus 7.31 minus 4.9. Starting in the parentheses, we'll do the scratch work on the bottom and take 7.31, subtract 4.9. Could put a 0 if I want to, right there, but I just need 1 minus 0 is fine. It's 1. 3 minus 9. Oh, cool. Thank you. Got an answer already. I'm still going to think through it though. I'm going to take 1 from here, put that there. I've got. That's what you got too. Oh, wait. Yeah. I had a different answer. Or wait, is that your final answer? Let's see. Okay. 10, 11, 12, 13. And then 4, 5, 6. So 15 minus 2.41, maybe that will be, okay, the final answer. 15, subtract 2, and put a 0.00. Wait. There we go. Borrow from here, put that there. You need to still borrow and get over there, where I have 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 4. Point. Oh wait. Okay, that's cool. I got 12.59. I really appreciate input from the class. It's really good to have you guys here. I had kind of small class numbers last semester. Okay, answer. All right, I'm kind of thinking I want to use class time, but you can definitely do your homework at this point. What should we talk about? I think it's good. I think we're going to call it a day. And let me tell you though what's coming next week. So for our next chapter, we want to do exponents. Cool. Let me peek at that. Do we have to do the assignment? So let's talk about what you need to do. So this is the end of the notes, but don't leave just yet. Right now, quiz 1 was to help me know how the class should go and who should be in the class, or if you need to be in a different class, just to make sure we get everything nice and set up. So you can we'll take quiz 2 next week after you've done some homework. So right now you should be working on homework 1. In xyzhomework.com on XYZ. And sorry if I'm repeating myself. I might have already told this to you, but just in case, I put a placeholder in Canvas for all of your XYZ homeworks. In a few weeks, I will put the scores from this website over into Canvas, so that way you can know what your grade is. And no, you're not doing all of the homework from this chapter. I only picked 25 problems. So this has 25 questions to work on. Which also means it's worth 25 points. Okay, any other questions about the class?
I have a question.
Yes.
So homework 1 is due September 7th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, good thing to write down. Due September 7th. Night. And it should be set so that you can, if you want to, you can start homework 2 the day that homework 1 is due, but you can just wait till after you turn in homework 1 to then the next day you'll be able to start homework 2. Oh, and of course, yeah, I'm going to post today's lecture. It will be in Canvas in the modules, definitely over the weekend. Okay, I think that's good. We're going to end class.